Encred's dream progresses further, and we see that his party is struggling a lot against the wild beasts. A soldier shoves young Encred back with his shield and says it's not time for him to show off. He should get away from here. The guy shields himself from the attack of a wild beast and feels immense pain. Young Encred crouches down and hides himself behind his teammate. The adult Encred thinks that his comrade's words were rough, but they were caring. This mercenary group took him in without any prejudice, even though he lacked a lot of skills. That was the case for everyone except for one guy. The traitor among the group stabs the guy protecting Encred, and this takes young Encred by surprise. Blood spilled all over the ground, and young Encred still couldn't believe his eyes. The guy becomes enraged and asks why he did that. While the man was coughing blood and looking back, a wild beast went for an attack from the front. The beast kills him, and another party member screams at his captain's death. As this guy was also getting distracted like his captain, another wild beast lunged toward him, tackling him to the ground. The beast then picks the guy by his clothes, and this gets the guy nervous. He's picked by the beast in the air, and other soldiers also began succumbing to the attacks. A guy dashes toward Encred and says they must retreat now. However, the traitor throws a dagger in his back, splattering blood all around, and thus killing him. The traitor in the group killed everyone and was the strongest of them all. The traitor kills the wild beast with ease while everyone else was struggling. He tells young Encred that he can't run away because everyone here has to die. Encred fears him and asks why he did that. The traitor crouches down and says that he got a better offer. So he decided to ditch this miserable group. He thought about cleaning everything here to prevent any future problems from arising further. He picks up a dead guy by the collar and says that he was annoyed by these weak little maggots. They pretend to have comradeship while meddling in his business. The traitor spits at the man to add more shame to the dead. This insult to his teammates gets on Encred's nerves, and he dashes at the enemy. However, the young Encred was no match for him, and he easily got disarmed. The traitor pins Encred on the ground by holding his neck, and Encred struggles to overpower him. The traitor says that he will let him go. He's a useless idiot, and he knows that he won't be able to do anything, even if he lives. He pats young Encred on the face and says that he's a pathetic wretch. The traitor then leaves the scene, and the adult Encred watches all of this unfold. He thinks that he was weak at that time. He watched helplessly as his comrades died, and even worse, that guy tormented him more. He survived that traitor's disgusting act of mercy, but at what cost? He had to swallow the embarrassment that he was pathetic, and he wasn't able to forgive himself for that. If he had burned his life for the sake of revenge, then he would have played right into his hands. He buried the grief of losing his comrades deep in his heart, and kept moving forward for the sake of his dream. Adult Encred looks at the guy leaving and thinks that he would have defeated him if he had the power at that time. Suddenly, Encred's dream takes a wild turn, and the traitor asks the adult Encred if he wants to kill him now. The traitor towers over Encred and goes for the attack. Magically, Encred also receives a sword and gets ready to face him. He thinks that this is a pointless nightmare and tells his mind to shut it out. Suddenly, the traitor turns into a blossom tree, and the vibe changes to a positive side. As Encred was sleeping, the beast accompanying him on the journey helped him tune down his nightmare. Encred moves his head to one side and sleeps comfortably. Esther thinks that he's quite a handful guy. When they were at the rear base, they were attacked by the enemy, and Encred suffered serious injuries. It was at that time that she used all her energy to heal his fatigue. Due to that, she exhausted all her energy and couldn't do anything when his life was on the line in the next battle. She looks at Encred and thinks that she couldn't make that mistake again. Soon enough, the morning comes, and a soldier blows the horn to get everyone ready for the battle. Soldiers rush out to grab their equipment and then go to join the line. Encred also wakes up by the sound and harasses the beast. He asks Rem about what's going on. Rem replies that those Aspen bastards have finally crawled out of their hiding. He tells Encred they will wipe them out today, and tells him to prepare for the battle. Ragna wakes up while yawning and complaining to himself. Ahead of Ragna, Auden is already up for the battle. Other core team members like Jackson and Andrew also head out. Kreis starts leaving and complains about early morning fights. He says these types of things are not good for his skin. Encred picks up both of his swords and looks at Esther sleeping. He wonders if he heard Esther's voice in his dream. He's not so sure about it as he can't remember it well. Encred harasses Esther, and tells her to keep the barracks safe. He then leaves his tent for the battle. Later on, both the armies come into a battle formation, and a light fog covers the whole area. Rem looks at the enemy and chuckles. He says that those Aspen bastards would have definitely prepared something with all that waiting. He has a feeling that today will be an interesting day. Encrid remains locked in and agrees with Rem's idea. He looks at the enemy and wonders what surprise they brought this time. Suddenly the soldiers hear a loud thud on the ground as if an earthquake is approaching them. They start getting freaked out by that sound, and one soldier says that they need to fire at that thing. A giant, towering as tall as a building, approaches them slowly. The archers raise their bows and say they must shoot at him now. Multiple arrows fly into the air, hitting the giant. But this small firepower only bounces off the giant's body, and not even one of them gets through his skin. Encrid's eyes remain wide open, and he wonders how a giant came here. The giant raises his weapon, and with a fierce look in his eyes, he goes to attack them. With one single hit of the weapon, he kills multiple soldiers. Limbs and body parts begin getting tossed around in the air, and blood covers the ground. A cry for help and desperation begins to crawl into the soldiers' mind, and they beg to be spared. More soldiers drop like flies, and the remaining ones begin to shiver with fear. The situation becomes even worse when the soldiers see that there are 2 more giants here. The giant gives a creepy smile and laughs maliciously. Encrid stays composed and thinks that many other races besides humans live on this continent. First of all, there are frogs who are consumed by their desire and dreams. Then there are fairies who worship nature. There are dwarves who are crazy about metal. There are beastskin whose sole purpose is to put breeding above everything else. There are Dagonkin who are said to be lone wanderers. And finally, they have the giants, who are addicted to slaughtering people. They love enacting violence through their own bodies, and that's why they are called the blood beasts. Jackson tells Encrid that they are getting hammered from both sides, and Encrid looks in the other direction. The hidden enemy soldiers start killing their army from the right, and others shout that they are breaking their formation. The enemies also attack them from the left, severing their limbs and killing them off. Christ shouts that they have to stop them. If they don't, then they will get surrounded and slaughtered soon. Encrid remains composed and says they will have to stop them in that case. Christ remains confused and wonders why their captain is so calm. The ferry commander also chimes in and says they will do things as her fiancé said. She says that the left side is their responsibility, so they will handle it. Encrid asks if that is the case. The ferry commander asks if he won't give her a good luck kiss. Encrid replies, "There's no chance for that." The ferry commander leaves for the battle and tells Encrid that he's a cold-hearted person. Encrid wonders why the ferry commander is joking like that in this crisis. Since the commander is going to the left, so they are going to be in charge of handling the giant in front and the enemies on the right side. Rem rotates his arm to get warmed up. He chuckles to himself and says, "This is good. Really, really good. He'll now give everyone a little demonstration of his skills." He points to Encrid and tells him to watch carefully. He'll have to learn this next. Encrid remains confused and wonders why Rem is in such a good mood. He wonders what he's planning to do now.